We are Ashley and Jamin Mills from The Handmade Home, and we are thrilled to be back today to continue our series on psychology of a renovation.
We are, so this is part 3 of our series. So we started talking originally about your home and philosophy behind a home, and we talked about fixations on a home and how that can lead to some fears and other things like that. And so today we're back with a brand new topic.
We are discussing something that's very well known to anyone who has ever gone through a renovation of any kind, and it's fatigue.
I felt fatigued. I feel fatigued right now a little bit. But I think it's something that everyone will encounter when they do this process. And we think there's some very logical reasons you do. And hopefully talking about this will help you understand it as you go through it. And you'll realize, hey, just like some of the fixations and other things, it's normal and it's okay.
When it comes to the starting point of any project, it's always easy. You're excited, there's a lot of motivation, you're thrilled about the vision for the project, and you are ready to go. The thing about a renovation is that if you're taking on a renovation of any size, it can quickly become a full-time job on its own. We remember when we moved to Nashville and took on our own house, it was 100% full-time for us. There was no room for breaks or a breather, and it was just the flooring affects the wall, affects the plumbing behind it, affects the tile you can pick because it was on back order, and it can be tiring.
Yeah, and so you go from this dream state where everything is easy and great and your mind can go anywhere with it to all of a sudden a realistic state where you're tied into these certain things, whether it's because you're on septic or because of code or because what can be done because of just your space, the walls you live in. And so all these problems start arising, all the work is happening, and that's the beginning, to me at least, of where the fatigue starts.
It can be very frustrating. I think too, people don't ever really discuss this part of renovation because we're used to seeing it happen in between a commercial break on TV. Until you've actually experienced it firsthand, you're not necessarily ready for what's coming your way. And you wonder if you are normal. You're like, why am I complaining? I'm changing my house. This is exciting. Actually, it's also very stressful amongst some things. And it can cause you to just get tired, burnout. It's a thing.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like you say, we live in this social media world where everything happens just immediately. And we don't see all the hard work that goes behind it, the problems that go behind it. So it can be very discouraging, I think.
So what we're saying is there's actually a lot of challenges and a lot of little failures that people don't always share. We try to stay pretty true to that, but sometimes we even forget to do that because we're in the moment and we're just trying to get done. And so there are a lot of little things that can happen, from codes like you mentioned, or a nasty surprise behind the walls, or a deadline popped up, or a shortage of funds, and it can just be tricky.
Yeah, and so I think the thing to know is that, hey, this is normal. Once you start it, you get into it, realize there's going to be some things that are going to go crazy maybe, and that's going to cause you fatigue, and that's okay. And don't be surprised by it. And I think that kind of helps start the battle against fatigue. So actually, once people start feeling fatigue, what do you kind of think might be the best way to deal with the fatigue?
Our biggest thing, and I think that I try to prepare our clients for this because I've been there firsthand and so have you, is adjust your expectations. I think that we go in really wanting it to happen like that. It starts to get frustrating when it doesn't meet our standards, and they're just really imaginary goals that our brains have set for us, and they're not usually based in reality. So I think it's important to really take a look at the situation and say, hey, is this realistic for me? Like, am I being ridiculous here? I need to take a step back and reassess.
Yeah, and I think that's in several areas you need to do that. Not only in your timeline, but also in your budget. You know, you can't have a medium-sized budget and then expect a top dollar thing. So understand that, hey, I need to have a realistic budget, realistic understanding of my timeline and my area. So like for us, like we moved from Montgomery, Alabama, where you could find people to do work any day of the week. Then we moved to Nashville, where there's so much work going on, you can't find somebody. You might wait 3 weeks for an electrician.
Well, and you can be set back 3 weeks if your electrician doesn't pass code. So.
Right, yeah, so there's all kind of things. So understand where you live as well as part of that expectation. And so another way I think you can combat this burnout, fatigue you might experience is probably really my favorite. And that is just to chill out, step back, take a breather. It's something that, you know, I really like to do a lot, is just to kind of step back, understand what's happening, and just chill out for a night or two.
I feel like on a lot of the television shows that we consume, it's always the family taking a vacation to Disney World while the renovation happens at their house. It always makes me laugh because A, Disney World's exhausting. B, who has the money for a vacation and a renovation at once?
Yeah.
Not many people.
And 3, is it actually going to get done while you're at Disney? Probably not.
You have to oversee it as a full-time job. So it's never realistic. And it is important to, and we're talking about small ways. Go take a nap. Sometimes I'm fussy like a toddler and I'm like, oh, yeah. I just need to take a nap. It's not that hard.
Binge watch some Netflix.
absolutely. Climb into bed and have a pajama day, because sometimes your body just needs that. Sometimes you need alone and downtime, and you just need to take a step back and realize what it is that's actually affecting you.
Take that breather, take that chance to give yourself that breather too, because remember, at the end of the day, it's your deadline that you're trying to meet. You can adjust it.
So a third way that we like to combat fatigue is...
Well, to keep that end goal and vision in mind. Because you started out with one, you don't need to lose it in the middle. Remember, it's coming, it's there, it'll be there very quickly actually.
I think that a great way to do that is through Pinterest boards. If you have like a little file of photos that motivate you, that you based your inspiration on for this project, revisit those and remember what it is that's fueling your love for this. If it's the excitement about new organization for your family or new space, kind of cling to that a little bit, and don't cling to it to the point of getting frustrated with it, but cling to it as a source of inspiration so that you can keep going, and that'll help keep it fresh on your mind, and you'll remember why you started to do this in the first place. So if we were to map out a normal person's emotions on a day-to-day basis.
Wait, is there a normal person?
No, there's not.
Okay.
But okay, let's say like your clinical trial of a person. Clinical trial? The way
Median,
you're
your
looking at
median.
it? Okay, your median example of a person's emotions. Wow, so glad we got that one right. All the way across like a span of time. It'd be like, this. So like a project, when it comes to fatigue or fixations or things that you're worried about, it starts out like this and you're so excited and it's a big deal and there's a lot of money and there's a lot of things involved, and then it goes into this, and then you hit a problem and there's a little bit of this, a lot of peaks and valleys until the very end where you start to get excited again and it's easy to finally be motivated. What we're talking about is that in the middle place where it can be kind of disenchanting and you're just wondering why you decided to start this in the first place.
Yeah, and so in that middle place, I think it's very wise to remember to not let those peak days define the project, and don't let those valley days define it either, because the truth is somewhere in the middle of what's really happening and going on, and it's going to lead to that very final peak where you're just like, oh, this was all worth it. I never had a baby. I think that's pretty obvious, but I hear that after you have the baby, you forget about all the things that were painful during the pregnancy, which again, I don't know what those are, but I hear about them.
It's true.
It's true. So I kind of think it's similar. I'm just taking a stab at that.
It's a wild stab. Thank you guys for tuning in today for the next installation in our series. Fatigue is real, it's out there, and it's just important to help identifying it, because identifying it, once again, gives you power, and it's just a nice way to feel normal.
It is, and so make sure to check out all the previous videos talking about this. And we've got a bunch of other great videos about doing contractors, designers, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So check those out, jump over the site, all the links will be below, and thanks for tuning in, guys.
And this is for any of you that might be dealing with renovation. Be sure to hang in there. Burnout is normal, and you've got this. The light is at the end of the tunnel. It's all going to turn out amazing.